This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Senate Republicans have blocked a measure to temporarily fund the government and suspend the debt ceiling, pushing Congress closer to the brink of a shutdown and default showdown. Congressional reporters Joseph Clark and Kerry Pickett report the standoff is pitting Democrats, who don't want to underscore their massive spending with a party line vote to raise the debt limit, against Republicans who don't want to give any political cover to the majority. The temporary spending measure would keep the government funded until December 3rd. Congress's failure to raise or suspend the debt limit would force the Treasury to decide which obligations to pay. It would also risk severe economic consequences, such as panic selling on Wall Street. Republicans have demanded separate votes on government funding and the debt limit. They say Democrats should fully own the debt hike in light of the massive spending that they have in store. The government runs out of funding at midnight on Thursday. Staying on Capitol Hill, lawmakers will get their long-awaited chance to grill Secretary of Defense Lloyd and Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley for the first time since the disastrous U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Pentagon correspondent Ben Wolfgang reports Austin and Milley will appear before the Senate Armed Services Committee, along with the head of U.S. Central Command, General Kenneth McKenzie. The hearing is expected to be lengthy and heated, and should focus on the Biden administration's military missteps before and during the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, as well as the limitations the Pentagon now faces as it crafts a counterterrorism strategy. Some Republican lawmakers have even broader questions and have zeroed in on what they believe was a disconnect between Pentagon leadership and top political officials in the Biden administration. They wonder how the president would have stuck by his original withdrawal plan despite mounting evidence that the U.S.-backed Afghan government was on the verge of a quick collapse, and the Taliban were poised to rapidly overrun the country. Staying with the Pentagon, the Department of Defense has revised rules that will make it easier for political appointees and congressional staffers to gain access to the Pentagon's most secret programs. Bill Gertz reports Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks issued a memorandum to senior Pentagon officials on September 20th, stating that filling out a counterintelligence questionnaire is no longer required to gain access to special access programs. Known as SAPs, these are the most secret activities and programs within the department. The eased rules specifically allow Senate-confirmed political appointees, members of Congress, professional staff of the Congressional Armed Services and Intelligence Committees, and senior White House officials access to the programs without filling out a pre-screening questionnaire. A Pentagon spokesperson told Bill the new rules do not expand existing practices, but formalize best practices which reduce unnecessary redundancies and inefficiencies. A reminder that you can find all these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. Don't have access yet? Visit WashingtonTimes.com/George and get 25% off your annual subscription. In health, researchers at Columbia University are in the early stages of testing a vaccine against oxycodone toxicity in untreated people with opioid use disorder. Sen Wu-Tan reports the clinical trial aims to enroll 45 people ages 18 to 59 who are physically dependent on opioids. Participants receive either a placebo or the vaccine in a shot once a month for 3 to 4 months. The vaccine works by generating antibodies that bind to the target opioid to prevent it from reaching the brain. Unlike other drug treatments, the vaccine doesn't require patients to have the opioid completely out of their systems to take effect. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported that a record 71,000 Americans died from opioid overdoses in the 12-month period that ended in February 2021. And finally, staying with vaccines, COVID-19 vaccine holdouts with some immunity from prior coronavirus infections find themselves in the middle as the nation debates how far to go in mandating the shots. Tom Howe reports Spectrum Health in Michigan is granting exemptions to employees who can show positive antibody tests within the past 3 months. Major healthcare systems in eastern Pennsylvania said they'll grant year-long exemptions from their vaccine rules to those who demonstrate natural immunity. Strict mandates in New York and Washington state require workers to get vaccines, flustering those who say they're already producing antibodies. Most firms are waiting for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration to shed light on the situation. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and follow the Front Page podcast for free on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Just search Washington Times. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WashTimes for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.